Hey guys, Dave Morrison coming to you from Hobo Dojo on a Sunday morning in October. I believe it's October 21st. Just wanted to catch up with you about a couple of things. We did the show last week at Old Oak Cellars in Pasadena. We had a full house, and it was great. We videotaped and recorded the show, and that's being mixed down. Jason's doing all that work. He's the genius of the two of us, and he's doing all that work. He recorded it. I played with my abbreviated band, a couple guys from my band, and put the band back together, man, because we're on a mission from God. So, but we had a great show, and some of you showed up. Wasn't a tremendous number of you because most of you don't live in California, I'm sure, and which isn't to say that you would show up anyway. But we did. We had a number of people that showed up, and it was great to put a face to some of the names that I've read online. I won't mention your names right now, because I have them written on a piece of paper that I have mysteriously forgotten where I put it. Maybe it's out in the van, I don't know. But anyway, I do appreciate it. It was great to shake hands with some of you guys and you know, make your put some faces to names. So anyway, as you know, if you saw my video about how to fix the divide, I'm trying very, very hard to interact with some of the anti-Trump people who went a little hysteric, and that I've been squabbling with over the years about values, and really kind of went over the edge during the Trump thing. And I'm sure that I was defensive because the attacks were coming in pretty hot and heavy. I'm sure they must feel attacked by some of the things that I say. So I'm being very, very careful not to post things on Facebook that are infuriating to people. Nobody seems concerned that I'm doing this. They just don't watch it. If they're not interested in hearing the other side of the argument, they just don't watch it. And I'm trying to think of Facebook as sort of a public forum where I'm just not going to be trashing my friends on there unless they're really awful people. And my friends aren't awful people. They just believe a lot of things that I no longer believe. I feel like I've outgrown the ideology that finds it to be at all helpful to think of people as victims and to think of a whole class of people as racists and bigots. And I never really thought that about conservatives. I knew, and the more conservatives I knew, the more I realized that really that entire side of the political spectrum is based entirely on accusations. It's really nothing else. They don't present any evidence. They just keep saying, well, those conservatives, they're just awful people. They want grandma to die in a hallway uncared for because the medical system has collapsed. They want immigrants to starve to death in the desert or die in car trunks, or be shot at the border. This is really a lot of craziness going on here. But there's always been this sort of ideation, this sort of portrayal of everybody Republican as just necessarily a bad person. And as I moved further that way in my own views, it became more and more offensive to me because I was including myself in these great big write-offs morally of the right, because I was getting more and more conservative. And so I fought back with them, and they fought back with me, and I really lost a lot of valuable friendships. And so last night, myself and my friend Jackie, who I've been hanging out with, who is a good conservative girl from Scotland, we've been hanging around, and we went over to this house concert at my very, very good friends John and Julie in their backyard. And I've had Thanksgiving and Christmas dinners over there. These are close friends of mine. And this past year, I didn't go to Thanksgiving with them. I didn't go to Christmas dinner with them, though I was invited. I felt like it wasn't just going to be a reasonable environment for me to be in. I felt like I would be attacked, not physically, but I felt that there were people there that would shun me and give me the cold shoulder. So I let a little time pass. And I thought, this is really ridiculous. I'm going to go over there. There was a band playing from Northern California, a band called the Jones Gang. Terrific band. So Jackie and I are sitting in the audience. And by the way, we got there and it was hugs all around. Everybody was glad to see me. introduced everybody to Jackie. She was thrilled to meet everybody. Everybody was thrilled to meet her. Um, so the show got going. They set up chairs in the backyard, and there's a stage and a sound system out there, and this great band that plays the festivals and things called. Sorry, I'm banging the table. I'm trying not to do that. Um, called Jones Gang. Used to be a band called Houston Jones, and they switched around a little bit, but a top quality band. So they're playing, and somewhere along the line, Travis Jones, the lead singer and kind of leader of the band, says, "Well, I don't want to offend anybody. I'm not sure what your beliefs are here, so I'm going to do a song, and it's meant to just be humorous, nothing, no harm intended." And I look at Jackie, and we're going, "Here it comes. They're going to start trashing Republicans." And then he said, "Who in the house is," and I was ready to raise my hand, because if he said Republican, I was just going to go like this. But he said Jehovah's Witness. Who in the house is a Jehovah's Witness? Of course, it was in the yard, not a house. But and we like breathed a sigh of relief. And then they did a song called, I think it's called Jody or Judy, the Jehovah Witness Stripper. And you know, if there's any Jehovah's Witnesses listening, I'm not making fun of you. I actually, oddly, strangely enough, in my most recent video, I referred to Jehovah's Witness too. So I thought, okay, can we get together and make fun of Jehovah's Witnesses? But you know, I'm kidding. If any of you is a Jehovah's Witness, I don't mean that at all. But anyway, we got through the night. Not a word of politics was spoken. Got ready to leave. I did have a situation where my girlfriend who dumped me last December, a year ago, I was traveling through the South with her, meeting her family, and everything was lovey-dovey, and everything was great. We got back here, and we broke up for this reason. I said to her, "Look, on nights when we're going to be romantic, let's just not talk politics at all. It takes me out of the groove. Let's just not do that on those nights. Other times, if we're going to go hiking or something like that, bring the dog along, and we can argue politics for 3 miles or 5 miles. And we'll get that out of our system. But on the times when we're being, you know, man-woman, let's not do that. Let's just not." And she was like, "Oh, but I like talking about politics." And I said, "Yeah, I know you do. But we don't agree on anything, so let's not do it anymore." And, I'm very offended. And she, you know, she got up, she gathered her stuff. We were here making dinner. We were here in the dojo making dinner together. And she grabbed her stuff and, you know, left some Tupperware. She was all rattled. And she left. And now I guess I should have run after her and said, "Oh, honey, you know, come back," or whatever. But I didn't. I let her go. And she had done this a couple of times before, these sort of trumped up charges for nothing. And I never saw her again. I never saw her again until last night. I didn't see her again because when I finally did decide to reach out to her and say, you know, "Have you taken enough of a break from me?" She wouldn't. She never returned any of my calls. She never returned any of my texts. I noticed she had blocked me on Facebook. And so this is somebody I'd been, you know, in a relationship for 3 or 4 years. The way I can only, it's just one more thing that politics has taken out of my life. So I'm there last night with Jackie, and Jackie and I agree on politics. We talked till 3 in the morning last night about this and that. You know, so it's not like I'm suffering or anything like terribly, but I never had any closure on that other relationship, and she came to the show last night and sat right behind me. You know, I get up to go get something. I guess I went up to go to the bathroom or something, and I like walked right past her leg, and I go, "It's a familiar looking leg," and I look up, and there she is right there in front of me with this kind of like, you know, blank stare on her face. I'm sure she had been readying her face to, you know, show no emotion, no anger, no missing you or anything like that. So anyway, I got through that. Didn't spend any more time. Generally, they circle the chairs and people do a song circle. And I said, you know, and Vicky, my ex, was already set up there to play songs. And I thought, I'm not going there. I'm not going to put Jackie through that or myself through that or Vicky through that. It didn't work out. I'm sorry. I don't know what I did wrong, but I have to move on, just as I have to move on from the animosity between friends. So I left relatively early. And again, hugs all around. No problem. And they're tired of the battle. We're tired of the battle. We've all been sort of polarized to the place where we hear somebody criticize somebody who's in our party, we take it as a personal offense. So I'm really, and then we come back at them, and then they take that as a personal attack, and back and forth, and they go, oh, that's proof that these people are monsters, and we see it as proof that they're, over emotional idiots. And we're people who could do a dozen things together. We could do projects together, and we're letting these areas of disagreement, instead of just agreeing to disagree, we're letting these areas of disagreement separate us. And it's just not smart. It's not good for us psychologically. It's not good for us morally. It's tearing communities apart. And I'm trying to do whatever I can to piece things back together. Just in my little world. I'm not trying to fix your world or to fix the world. I'm just trying to fix my little part of the world as far as this thing goes. So, last Sunday we're doing the show, and I had very consciously set this show up in this manner. My band was playing, and I asked the opening act to come play. It was Mark and Rachel, and I don't know where Rachel stands on politically, if anywhere at all, but I know that Mark is as much a left winger as I'm a right winger, and as verbal about it on social media as I am. So I never friended him on Facebook. I turned away his friend request on Facebook when I first got to know him. But over time, I've been going to the open mic that these two run together, and I just have every reason to understand that whatever mistaken beliefs they or he may hold, he's an ace guy. He's a good man. He gives of his time to others, and so I invited them to be the opening act, and we got through the whole night. Their family was there. Some of my people were there. Some of my conservative friends from Facebook. Some of my conservative friends from YouTube. And everybody got along fine. Nobody mentioned politics. I kind of did a glancing touch on feminism, when I did one of my songs, which is called Hand Me Down, because the chorus is, she's a hand me down. And then it continues, from another place and time, where people loved one another without another end in mind, not obsolete or broken, threadbare or faded blue. She's something to grow into, my little hand-me-down. So, but it starts off with, when I first started playing that publicly, feminists would come up to me, are you calling a woman a hand-me-down? They were hearing it as like something's being passed around or something like that, where I was thinking of it as sort of an heirloom coming down from a finer place in history, and something that I myself would grow into, somebody that I myself would grow into. So I said, listen to the whole song before you, immediately start typing your hatred from the audience at me. But so I put a glancing reference to it, okay, if there's any feminists in the house, whatever I said, I don't remember, but something like, trust me, this isn't an anti-woman song. But anyway, the show went great. We had a really good time, and then I went to the show last night, almost a week later, and again had a really good time with people. That band from Northern California, from right at San Francisco, Marin County, they're right in the epicenter of serious leftism, and they didn't make a reference at all to politics. And congratulations to them. Really nice guys. Afterwards, I met all the guys, and we talked and stuff like that. Talked about gear, hung out with the guitar player for a while, and looked at his pedal board and talked about pedal boards and tone. Guitarists do this. So anyway, that's going good. I had a couple of things I wanted to talk to you about. So we've got all these videos, and Jason is cutting them into videos. Sorry, this is running long. If you guys want to check out, that's fine. I just feel like chatting a little bit here. So we've got these videos, and they're going to be by song. That way we can cut out my ill-conceived introductions. There might be a couple introductions that make the cut, but I wasn't really in my best mode. Sometimes I'm pretty clever from stage, I'm pretty funny, and then there's times that I'm really just kind of flailing up there, and this was one of those times I wasn't really nailing down the intros in any particularly interesting way. So unless there are a couple that make the cut, I'll attach those. We'll attach those to those songs to which those intros belong. Otherwise, it'll probably be just the songs. And everything's great. I screwed up a couple of guitar things, so there might be a couple places where I do a cheat, where I go into the studio with Jason and just rerun a couple of chord changes that I missed, just so it doesn't, I'm not trying to portray myself as perfect. And We're certainly not going to retrack anything other than that, just to fix a couple things. When you're up there on stage, you're remembering all the lyrics, all the chord changes, and you have to sing and be the front man. Every now and then I get a little I start running a little low on bandwidth, and I'll just forget to make a chord change, or I'll hit the wrong chords, and it's a little glaring if you don't fix it. So I may fix a couple things like that, or I may let them go. I haven't decided yet. So, but all these things are going to be available, and we're going to put them somehow on our page, or maybe put them on my Dave Morrison page, which is, if any of you have been over there, I've noticed I've got a few subscribers over there lately, and you must be going, what is this weird channel? Mostly the Dave Morrison channel, if you want to look at it, it's really ridiculous. I had no idea how to make a video, like I really don't now. But it was when I was moving the dojo here, I shot some very brief, like 30-second or minute and a half videos of like putting my plumbing in and my French drain and getting ready to inhabit this area, and the yard was a mess and I was a mess, and there might have been a few things from when I was moving. I don't remember. Just random videos for no good reason. I knew that nobody was going to see them. I was just putting up on YouTube to try to develop the habit, I think. And then there are some where I'm sitting in a rented room that I rented in a house for 3 months when I was between this locale and the locale where I was before in Thousand Oaks, California. And I was in this rented room there, and I shot some videos from there, and they're all about they're just me rambling like I'm rambling now, but about some philosophical concept that was on my mind at the time. If anybody wants to look at that, I don't recommend it, because they're probably really boring, and I hadn't written anything out. I hadn't really, tightened up the ideas very much. I was just turning on the camera and rambling, more or less. So most likely I'll get rid of most of those things. Long story short, too late for that now, but what I'm trying to say is I may put the videos up there. So I'm asking your advice on that. Do you think it would be somehow weird to have some of my music videos just in a playlist on Blue Collar Logic? I don't want to put them in as individual things, because that would be kind of strange. I don't want to make you think, oh, here's another song of mine, how important. I don't want to do that. But I would like to share this show with you guys and share my music with you. It's another aspect of who I am. Some of you have taken some interest in me, and great. I'm humbled by it, but I'm not so humbled that I'm not willing to post some videos. And if you're interested in my music, I have albums, and it will be a way if some of you bought some of the albums. They're all really good, and I would mail them to you personally. I'd sign them if you want. I think that's a little strange, but I'd be happy to do it if that's what you want, and mail them out right here from the table in the famed Hobo Dojo. Did I just say Homo Dojo? Oops. I keep coming out one way after another, don't I? Anyway, I would just, when I do send CDs out, I do it right from this table, and I put them in an envelope and personally send them off to you wherever you are. So if you wanted to buy the CDs, that'd be great. And this would be a chance for you to hear some of the music. And if you think I'm onto something, if you like what I'm doing, you could hear properly produced albums where there's proper instrumentation and harmony vocals, and tight arrangements and drums and all the good stuff that make an album sound really good. So I have 3 albums, records, whatever you want to call them, CDs. Do you guys still have CD players? I don't have one anymore. I only have one in my truck, and a lot of people not have them in their truck anymore. But we do have those are also available in digital downloads, and I would give you the information on that if you're interested. So that's a question about that. The question would be, would you be interested in having those? Do you think that would somehow be an affront to you guys, or an abuse of the channel to put music up there? So just let me know, and I may take your advice. Also, a lot of you guys have been talking about merch. You've been saying, get some merch, and we have run hot and cold on this, and I'll explain why. We have these t-shirts. See, the Blue Collar Logic t-shirts. This is a logo that we had an idea for. It's a pickup truck carrying a giant lit up light bulb in the back, which is supposed to symbolize Blue Collar Logic. So it seemed like a good idea at the time, and We had a guy online do the design for it, and I thought it came out nice. And so we've got this stuff, and for this is how it looks on a light colored shirt, and there's also some dark colored shirts that you can get. Now this is all on Teespring, so I don't know if you guys know how this works. This means you order a T-shirt from them, and then they print it and send it to you. So we don't have to buy a whole bunch of them, you know. So you'd see boxes stacked up behind me here of T-shirts and stuff like that, and then we have to buy it and spend all that money like we used to have to do it in the old days. And then it turns out we're nothing but shipping clerks around here. So we don't want to do that, and you don't want to do that. But it's relatively expensive from Teespring. Now we have right now on the merch site, we have them up there listed for $17. But at $17, we only make $5 a T-shirt. So I'm not sure if it's really worth doing, because a lot of you might say, "Hey, I'd like to support these guys." So I'd like to go over to their support page over at Giving Fuel, which we always link to, and some of you have been really kind to do that. And a couple of you have given like $50 or $100, and that goes a real long way for us, because it takes a lot of time, and you have to take days off work to do the writing, time off work to do all the recording of the videos, and for both of us it's a lot of time, it's a lot of effort. And so some of you have wanted to contribute, and so you can do it through Giving Fuel. And so some of you have come in with like $25, $50 donations, and we were just getting ready to go live with the T-shirt sale thing, and that week we had taken in $400 in donations. And I thought, we're gonna have to, how many shirts we're gonna have to sell to get, I think it was 80 or something like that, 80 shirts to make that money. And we had just gotten that from 4 generous fans who had decided, fans is a bad word, sorry about that, 4 generous supporters who had decided just to give us money. And then that hasn't happened again. And that hasn't happened again. So on a good day, we might make 25 off Giving Fuel, off the Giving Fuel site. Or sometimes we'll get $50. Some days we get nothing at all. And that might happen 3 or 4 days in a row. And that's all fine. But we would like to make some kind of, we would like to get paid in some way for the effort we put out, so that we can continue to do it and it doesn't become burdensome. Long way of saying, we looked at it and we thought, is it really worth putting the shirts up? Because maybe people will then just buy shirts, and all of our donations will only be $5. See what I'm saying? And it takes a really long time when you 2 guys are splitting the money, it takes a really long time for me to get paid for an hour's work. I get paid $25 an hour to paint houses, and it's going to take me a long time to replicate that as a writer and a video maker at $5 a shirt. So we've kind of held it back since then. The coffee mugs, they're $12. I have no idea what our cut is off of that, but it's certainly not as much as Teespring's making. Of course, they're doing the shipping, they're making it happen. Good for them. They're capitalists. This stuff is all made right here in the USA. The T-shirts are probably from China, but the printing and stuff is done right here in the USA and shipped out from there. So they're creating jobs here in America. So we've been going back and forth on this. What do we do? So again, I'm asking your advice on this. It seems to me that if we were to raise the prices from $17 to $22, we would then make $10 a shirt. Does that seem like that's too much of us to ask? Is that too much for you to spend? It's really a memento. It's not just a T-shirt. I buy almost all my T-shirts at Walmart, and I buy them in like packs. For my work shirts, I buy them in sometimes I get a pack of 8, sometimes I get a pack of 10. It's 4 free shirts. They're from Gildan or some kind of off-brand or whatever, made in China. And so I'm used to buying T-shirts, and even these flannels that I wear in a lot of these videos. This thing's $8. So is a T-shirt, just because it says Blue Collar Logic on it, worth your cost of $22 or whatever plus shipping? Maybe it is, maybe it isn't. So I'm just asking. So maybe we won't do the merchandise. Maybe we won't do that, and we'll just, or maybe we will, and just realize that those people otherwise would not have given to us on Giving Fuel. They're not the kind of people with a deep enough pocket to say, I like these guys, I'm just going to send $20, or I'm going to send $5, $10, whatever. And we understand all of that. We want all of you to enjoy the videos and use them for whatever purposes you do. Anyway, so that's that. That's the merch thing. So it's a question. It's an open question. Let us know. Would you be interested in these things? And what's your break off number of how much you would be willing to spend? So we talked about trying to patch things up with friends. And I asked you about the videos, so I guess that's about all I've got. I just want to tell you that we are coming up on the general elections here in California too, and we do have a Republican running for Congress here, and not for Congress, excuse me, running for the governorship, and he's a guy named John Cox. All right. So I don't know if you've heard of him. He's running against Gavin Newsom, who you probably have heard, former mayor of San Francisco, and I think he's been, what has he been since then? I'm so checked out of California politics. But so here we have John Cox, and he says this. Okay, I wasn't supposed to, this is the candidate statement. I wasn't supposed to make it into this runoff for governor. I'm not part of the political class. Wasn't born rich, no family with political connections. My name is John Cox, and I think what the political class has done to working people in California is a crime. They've rigged the game, trading favors and enriching themselves, while millions of forgotten Californians have been left behind. We have sky-high gas prices and vehicle fees. Just let me quick tell you, it costs me $70 to fill the van now. $70, and it's just an Astro van. You know, it's a Safari, but it's like an Astro van. We have sky-high gas prices and vehicle fees. The vehicle fees have all been raised too. This is a direct tax on the poor people, the people that like us, who need to put tools in their vehicles and ride back and forth to work. We can't take the gold line or the blue line or ride the bus to work. We're not briefcase people. We need our tools with us. It's a direct hit on us. Okay. Where millions, let's see, we have sky-high gas prices and vehicle fees with the highest poverty rate in the country. Where millions commute to cities they love, they can't afford to live in. So people commute to towns because that's where the jobs are, but they can't live there. So they have to, sort of 2 hours on the road where they're spending all this extra money on gas, all this extra money that, and so what Cox says is, so they commute on roads that are a mess. They send their children to failing schools. Sacramento politicians ration water in our homes while emptying our abundant water supply into the ocean. Trillions and trillions and trillions of gallons each year. Our friends and family are moving out of California not because they want to, but because they have to. Where for far too many Californians it's a choice between buying gas to get to work or groceries to feed the family. That's a choice no one should have to make. The good news, we don't have to put up with this because help is on the way. We can stop the water rationing, repeal the gas tax, fix our schools, and make housing affordable again, but only if we're willing to hold our failed political leaders accountable. I'm John Cox, and I want to be your governor. Now, beneath that is the opportunity for Gavin Newsom, Democrat, to make his statement. You want to see what he said? Nothing. Because in this state, Democrats don't even bother responding to the Republican candidate. There's going to be no debates between these guys. I think they scheduled one, and it's like 10 o'clock in the morning on a weekday, where no working people will have a chance to see it. And they put it right in the place where guys like me are going to be able to see it. We're not going to be able to hear this candidate talk. Newsom is outspending him many times over for really commercials that might not even post. I mean, because people are going to just automatically vote Democrat anyway, mostly in this country. The people that are poor are out in the Central Valley and places like that. They're starved for water, and it's really a mess here. So I don't want to get into a rant about that. I just wanted to share that with you. This is the kind of sort of dismissive attitude that people who vote Republican are faced with here in California. It's really a one-party state. You've heard that said before. It's very, very true. I'm going to go out. I'm going to vote for John Cox, and I'm hoping there's some other people out there. Hoping it's bubbling up a little bit. It's amazing that he made it this far. His numbers are not that bad. So I'm going to get out there and do that. If you're in California, join me. Let's vote for this dude. All right. So anyway, that's enough. I talked for a friggin' half hour. So I don't think I've been entertaining. So there's probably only one person still watching this. And anyway, have a great rest of your weekend. And thanks for everything. And we'll talk to you soon.